Cowboys. I asked him, how do you switch your focus right now to football? And he said, I really don't know. I can't tell you until after the game. But what I can tell you is that we're ball players. And Jerry and Josh were ball players. We do what we know how to do. And on Sunday, we know how to play football. But we do so today with our teammates and their families on our minds and in our hearts. Tom?
Lawyer, thank you so much. And Lawyer, thank you for being able to stand and chat for a while about this very difficult time for the Cowboys organization with Jerry Jones. Cowboys have won the toss, elected to receive. And the Bengals' new kicker, Josh Brown, spins it away, and Dwayne Harris takes a knee. And the Dallas Cowboys, led by quarterback Tony Romo, coming off undoubtedly their best offensive performance of the year last week against Philadelphia.
Well, up front, it begins on the right side with right tackle Doug Free. He's been under absolute siege on that right side. We're going to have to see how he holds up. Jason Witten's the go-to guy. Des Bryant, Miles Austin provide the fireworks for this big-time offense.
Bryant beginning to turn into the kind of player they thought he would be as their #1 pick in 2010 out of Oklahoma State. Cowboys will throw it on first down. And the catch is made on the crossing pattern by the backup tight end James Hanna, who starts in a 2 tight end set. Only his second catch of the year for Romo. Started the year miserably. At the end of October, he had 13 interceptions, just 9 touchdowns, but on a good roll right now. And you see already career highs in completion percentage and passing yards per game. Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. And DeMarco Murray is wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage by the free safety Reggie Nelson. And this is a surging Cincinnati defense.
Yeah, in the middle, D'Amato Pecco is a big run stopper. Vontaze Burfict, the rookie, has been really played at the best at the linebacker position for them. Terrence Newman and Chris Crocker, they're going to have to match up with those 2 receivers we talked about with the Dallas Cowboys.
Of course, Newman, a former #1 pick of the Cowboys back in 2003 in his first season with Cincinnati. It's a 3rd and 5. Bengals team leads the NFL in sacks. Good protection. And a 3rd down conversion and then some. Crossing the 45 is Dwayne Harris, making just his 9th reception of the year.
Well, right from the get-go, they're lining up in press man. They're challenging the Dallas Cowboys to beat them one-on-one across the board. You got to know their focus is on Des Bryant and Miles Austin, so that leaves an opening for Dwayne Harris.
Talked about the Cowboys in that win against Philadelphia. 123 rushing yards, a season-high 38 points. Romo threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, did not turn it over. And they give it to DeMarco Murray. He was a big part of that running game. And Brian, did they miss him when he was out for 6 weeks? Was off to a great start this year for the Cowboys.
Tom, we saw him better than a month ago against the Baltimore Ravens, a game they probably should have won. And the key was they ran up and down the field against that really solid Raven defense. You're right. Since then, they haven't had any consistency in the running game. That puts a lot on the plate of Tony Romo.
Felix Jones checks into the Cowboys backfield, replacing Murray on 2nd down and 7.
Watch it.
Out of the backfield to the fullback Lawrence Vickers, and he has another Dallas first down to the Cincinnati 41-yard line.
This is kind of like an extension of the running game. When you look here, and you're gonna get a chance with the fullback to just get to the outside. He's looking downfield, doesn't like it. Protection's holding up pretty good, so I'm just going to drop this thing off. It's like an extended wide run for the Dallas Cowboys. This will punch a hole in that pressure defense of the Cincinnati Bengals.
First carry for Felix Jones. He was getting most of the carries in the absence of DeMarco Murray and was very, very quiet. I mean, to give you an idea, with Murray to begin the year leading up to that Baltimore game, the Cowboys were averaging almost 100 yards rushing per game. In the 6 weeks without him, they averaged 60 yards rushing per game.
And like most teams in the league, if you can have that 1-2 punch of Murray and Jones, that's the way most teams are configured now to guarantee that you can stay with that running game, not only as the game progresses, but as the season progresses.
Four-man rush. First catch for Jason Witten, and he's very close to a first down. Needed to get to the 31. And that's right about where they spot it. They may have to measure. Well, he's about a half a yard short, maybe less than that.
Obviously, Jason Witten is the go-to guy for Tony Romo. He said that they've been together for so long, it's like they can almost finish each other's sentences. He knows that Jason Witten will eventually see the same thing he is seeing and will make the move appropriately. That way, Tony Romo can anticipate him and put the ball where it needs to be.
Longtime Cowboy assistant coach, 7 years here, defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer. Hoping for a stop on third and less than a yard. But his defense unable to get it, as Murray has a first down inside the 30. A very impressive opening drive for the Dallas Cowboys. They've not done much of this season.
No, of course, this is just downhill, mano a mano. Marvin Lewis told us that they needed to be patient if they gave up a little bit in the run, because they knew if they're going to get beat by the Dallas Cowboys, it will probably involve Tony Romo, Des Bryant, Jason Witten, and Miles Austin. That's where their focus is. They'll be patient with the run to a degree.
Again, Vickers out of the backfield, and a good pickup on first down. So all of a sudden early on here, no Des Bryant on this first drive, no Miles Austin. One catch by Witten, but twice to Vickers. They found Dwayne Harris, they found James Hanna, so everybody getting involved early.
And it makes sense. If you're going to configure yourself to stop somebody, who are you going to stop? Bryant, Austin, and Witten. So who else is going to get the ball? Who's else left? Okay, we can either run it or let's drop it off to the fullback.
Second down, they get it to Murray, looking for cutback running room and not much air. It'll bring up another third down. And a third down in less than two. The Bengals, along with the Chicago Bears, are the only two teams in the NFL to have not allowed a touchdown on their opponent's opening drive in a game this year.
And that's so important on a big game like this. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys have moved efficiently down the field. But if they come away with only 3 in this instance, that would be a bit of a win for Cincinnati.
Ball spotted at the 19, so third down and a yard. Play action. Romo rolls, being chased. And a dangerous throw that was nearly intercepted by Crocker. Brian, we've seen the Cowboys, and frequently we find ourselves asking the question, why on 3rd and 1?
Well, here you can see they ran the ball effectively, so now a play-action fake. And look at this. You know this is going to come open, but Tony Romo saw it just a little bit late. You're right, Tom. That came oh so close to an interception, maybe a pick 6.
37-yard field goal attempt by Dan Bailey. He's made 36 in a row from inside of 40. And you can make it 37 in a row. So, is it a win for the Cincinnati defense? Dallas on its opening drive in front, 3-0. Certainly one of the great zoos in all of America, the Cincinnati Zoo, home to many species, including that beautiful Bengal tiger. A good start for Tony Romo and the Cowboys. 12 plays, 61 yards, chewed up better than 6 minutes. But decided to throw the ball on a 3rd down and 1. Couldn't convert, and they kicked the field goal. This is Brandon Tate from 5 yards out of his own end zone. And a good return here as he's up to the 30. By Romo on his first possession, a field goal. Now Andy Dalton, the Katy, Texas native, will get the ball for the Bengals. Andy Dalton, second-year quarterback out of TCU, went to the Pro Bowl as a rookie a year ago, leading the Bengals into the playoffs. And he's on quite a run, much like his team, which has ripped off 4 straight wins to get 2 games over 500. Escapes trouble and looking for Green on the first play and just throws it away.
Well, they want to take a shot deep, but right now they're getting pressure right from the get-go. He's lucky he didn't come through clean. That rushed the throw of Dalton that put the ball out of bounds. You can see they wanted to be aggressive right from the get-go. They're starting with 2 tights, 2 regular people. They're normally a 3 wides team, but I think they're trying to dictate to the Dallas Cowboys the personnel they're putting on the field.
24 touchdowns, and here's Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. 3 consecutive games he has rushed for better than 100 yards. The first Bengal back to do that since 1999, Corey Dillon.
And this is the concern for the Dallas Cowboys. If we let this run, you're going to see as he gets into the line with all the stunning. Stop right there. Look at the hole. Why is that? Because the linebackers are coming up into the gaps. They're trying to move and stunt to affect the run game and the pass protection lanes of the Cincinnati Bengals. That's all well and good, but that also leaves big gashes in the running game.
Well, we saw that lead blocked by Chris Presley on the linebacker Dan Connor. And a timeout was called on the Dallas Cowboys sideline prior to that first down snap.
Timeout. Dallas.
I think you hear the Cincinnati Bengals caught the Dallas Cowboys off guard. They've only got 10 men on the field, does the Dallas Cowboys. They anticipated a great deal of 3 wides, but because of the issue of the Dallas Cowboys and what's going on in the center of this defense, we may see more of the 2 tight end, 2 back configuration.
They give it on the end around and a big gainer. This is Marvin Jones, a rookie out of Cal, and he's inside the 10-yard line. Jones starting in place of the injured Mohamed Sanu. And normally they're thinking about him catching passes.
Well, they say he's an excellent athlete. He's here on the right side, and they're just going to run this around right here. Look at the edge that they've created. And they said coming out of training camp, Marvin Jones was one of the best athletes they had at wide receiver. He got injured. That opened the door for Mohamed Sanu. He played very well, stayed in the lineup. They're excited about the athleticism and ability of Marvin Jones.
Laser.
They stepped out of bounds. They mark it at the 14-yard line. First down for Cincinnati. Put it in the hands of Hawkins. And he slips inside the 10, run out of bounds at the 9-yard line. Now, we talked about how poor Dallas has been, by and large, on its opening possession of the game. Flip that around for Cincinnati. Scored a touchdown against San Diego last week. 35 points on their first possession of games this year.
And they're going no huddle here, again, trying to keep the defense of the Cowboys unsettled.
We give it to Hawkins. Breaks it to the outside and finds the end zone. A touchdown for Andrew Hawkins. That is a receiving touchdown for Hawkins. And you see now 6 times the Bengals on their opening possession of the game cash in with a touchdown. Going after, their new kicker is Josh Brown, replacing the injured Mike Nugent. So the Bengals answer with a touchdown. 7-3 in the opening quarter.
Bengals come out in an unbalanced line, put Andrew Whitworth on the right side, then come back with Hawkins on a short motion. Quarterbacks love this, a short little 2-yard pass. It still goes down as a touchdown pass on the books.
And now Brown puts it on the tee and spins it away. Cowboys have 3 back. They'll take it to the 20. January the 4th, one of the great bowl games of the year on Fox. Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel leads 9th-ranked Texas A&M against 11th-ranked Oklahoma. The AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic, that's in Dallas, January 4th, only on Fox. What a great job, Rick Baker and that entire Cotton Bowl staff. That is truly a great, great bowl game.
What an amazing story, Manziel. I mean, he wasn't even the starter going into training camp, and he wins the Heisman Trophy as a rookie. Only in America, man. You gotta love it.
You gotta love it. Now Romo and the Cowboys from their own 22nd possession. Bouncing off a couple of would-be tacklers is Murray, and that's a gain of close to 4. We check in with Kurt Menefee back in Los Angeles.
Well, against the Bears, Minnesota got a 1-yard touchdown run from Adrian Peterson, an interception, and then another 1-yard touchdown run from Peterson. Look at this, 14-0. They're not even midway through the first quarter there at the Metrodome. Tom and Brian.
Surprising start there. Chicago knotted up atop the NFC North with the Green Bay Packers. And a change early on at right tackle for the Cowboys. Doug Free is out. Jeremy Parnell right now is in there.
Yeah, we talked about the struggles that Doug Free has had. Something happened in that first drive to make them think they needed to make the change.
At the fingertips of Miles Austin. As hot as Dez Bryant has been, that's how quiet Austin has been. Over the last 4 games, only 10 catches for this 2-time Pro Bowl wide receiver.
And as you know, that goes in cycles as a player gets hot, as Dez Bryant has been. We've already seen they've not attempted to pass to him yet. Why? Because the Bengals are going to take him away. That should open the door for Austin Miles to have more receptions.
3rd and 6.
Miles Austin, excuse me.
Blitz coming. They pick it up. And right through the fingertips of Bryant.
Tony Romo knew he had to get the ball out quickly. He anticipated Dez Bryant. You know, these little in routes like that, they can get tricky. At what angle do you break it? Are you too high? Are you too shallow? Do you come too flat? When a quarterback's under duress, it can lead to what looks like, how can you not complete that? But there's a lot going on there, particularly you've got someone breathing down your neck.
Terrible punt by Brian Moorman, and the Bengals are going to get it close to midfield. They're still walking down the sideline. They spot it at the Dallas 47-yard line. 29-yard punt by Moorman.
We talked about the maturation of a Dez Bryant here. He's working with the receivers. A little frustration maybe that the ball's not coming into him more. He's got to recognize part of that maturation is, you know what, the other guys get paid. They're going to try to stop him as well. There's nothing wrong with lobbying for the ball more, but it's got to be within the context of what you're doing as a team.
First down throw by Dalton, and he finds Marvin Jones, and that's a catch to the 30-yard line and a Bengals first down.
This is a well-thrown ball. I want you to watch the timing of this. This is right at the top of the 5th step. The ball's got to be out immediately, particularly when you've turned your back to the coverage. This is well-timed. We've talked about the athleticism of Marvin Jones. He's a big receiver, just the kind of guy you want to throw these skinny posts to on the backside.
And he is going to be a big story in what is going to have to be his rapid maturation inside this Bengals offense. As Green Ellis carries for 3. Was a young Cincinnati Bengals team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You've got 2 rookies starting up front. You've got Gresham, a 3rd-year tight end, and very young at wide receiver.
I thought it was very interesting that defensive coordinator Rob Ryan of the Dallas Cowboys said this was the most physical offensive line they've seen. And that includes the 2 rookies, Zeitler and Robinson. That's saying something.
Dalton rolling to the right as the pressure comes, throws, and incomplete.
Well, the judgment of Andy Dalton down in this part of the field is a big part of their success. He's really shown that he has the maturity to take a shot at a throw like this. That's a nice, safe throw. This is either going to be a great catch or it's going to be out of bounds. He knows they have the emotional momentum in this game, responding to the long drive of the Dallas Cowboys. They just marched down the field for the score. They're in great position here. Jay Gruden understands he can trust his quarterback, Andy Dalton, in just about any situation.
They're down in 7. And a catch, A.J. Green down to the 12-yard line. Boy, Green, the 4th overall pick in last year's draft, already among the best receivers in the entire league.
A lot of pressure coming off that right side. Andy Dalton spot on. He's getting this ball out of his hands unbelievably quick and with incredible accuracy. He knew he was under pressure. Of course, all that pressure meant there was nothing underneath that throw.
Ball spotted at the Dallas 11. Back in the hands of Green Ellis. And a gain of 3. A.J. Green, not only one of the best wide receivers, apparently, Brian, even in a market size like Cincinnati, quite small compared to most of the NFL, he is among the most popular receivers in the game. He had the most votes among all the fans in the Pro Bowl ballot.
Well, people around the country are beginning to learn about A.J. Green, obviously, as the success of the Cincinnati Bengals continues. But he's got the prototypical numbers. He's got the size. He's got the speed, the leaping ability of the really good receivers in this league. A Calvin Johnson, an Andre Johnson. This young man's climbing up the charts.
Second down and 8, and Dalton punches it down to the 5 into the arms of Hawkins. And it brings up third down. The Bengals can get a first down to the Dallas 1. So third down and 4.
Andy Dalton was thrilled to have Andrew Hawkins back in the lineup. He missed a couple games. Obviously, Gresham and Green, as we've talked about, those are the go-to guys. But just like we've talked about before, give the other guys credit. They're going to do everything they can to take away those big play receivers. That's why a guy like Hawkins can all of a sudden step up, and have 5, 6, 7 receptions in a game.
NBA sit.
And Dalton is dropped behind the line of scrimmage by Jason Hatcher. So a big third down stop from the 5-yard line. And Josh Brown will come out for his first field goal attempt in a Bengal uniform.
Well, they took a page out of the Cincinnati Bengals defensive playbook. They brought pressure up the middle with Hatcher. Obviously, you're aware of Spencer and Ware on the outside, but when you get pressure on the inside, that can be a huge advantage for a defense.
25-yard field goal try by Josh Brown. He is replacing the injured Mike Nugent, who hurt his right calf in practice this week. Good snap, good hold, and Brown, a successful debut. Many years in Seattle. The last 4 years with the Rams, he was regarded at one time as among the best, if not the best kicker in the league.
Yeah, and it's amazing how an organization is built to adapt to this type of thing. Your kicker goes down during the week, so you got to rely on your personnel staff to say, who's out there, who can we bring in? Because this is obviously on a playoff caliber game. We've got to have a guy we can trust.
We'd love to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, watching today's game in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea on AFN, the American Forces Network. We thank all of you for your service, standing tall and proud and strong for the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. 2 possessions, 2 scores for the Bengals in a 10-3 lead. You can't stress the importance enough in this game for these 2 teams. Dallas at 6-6, a game back in their division, game back in the wild card or the second wild card. And for the Bengals, they are tied in that second wild card slot in the AFC with the Steelers, who right now have a tie break against them, but they have 1 more game to go.
And we found out the other day, they don't want to talk about wild card, Tom. They say they're not out of the division race yet. Baltimore's not out of the woods. They feel like they can make a run out of that if they can indeed sweep here.
Well, the Cowboys won their opener in grand fashion in the Meadowlands, beating the Giants. They were hammered the following week in Seattle. Romo, the 5 interceptions week 4 in the loss against Dallas. And then after losing on Thanksgiving Day, they rallied to beat Philadelphia, getting to 6-6. The 5th time this year the Cowboys have been at 500. And because of the Giants' recent struggles, as you see, Doug Free is back in there at right tackle for the Cowboys. They feel like if they can win out these final 4, they've got a legitimate chance in their division. Only 1 back.
Yeah, they're not so sure that 9-7 won't win the division in the NFC East.
Cutting it the other way, a good first down carry by DeMarco Murray. Boy, the more you watch this young man, the more you like him.
Yeah, you've got to be careful that the Cincinnati Bengals do. You're going to see here on the backside, Jason Witten does a nice job of collapsing the backside. DeMarco Murray is one of those guys that can take an inside run and bounce it all the way to the outside. So if you're that last edge rusher, you got to be very careful that you don't get collapsed inside to the interior of the defense.
Second and 3, they pitch it to Murray. And he is denied the first down by a yard. So here we are already, and this will be the 4th time in the game. The Cowboys will have a 3rd and less than 2. The first 2 times, they ran it successfully. The 3rd time in the red zone, they threw it unsuccessfully.
I get the sense you didn't like that third.
I don't like it a little bit, but I'm not the coach.
And now's where the gamesmanship is between Jason Garrett and Mike Zimmer, the defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. I did this the first 2 times. I did that the last time. What am I going to do this time? And out of the gun, you got to figure unless they run a quick draw, it's going to be a pass.
4-man rush, good protection. And a first down. That was barely a forward pass. Caught right at the line of scrimmage. And then Murray gets the first down. He's a guy that can not only run it, but he can also catch it out of the backfield. On our way to the second quarter, Bengals 10-3. Fox NFL Sunday continues after this. Those are very good road numbers for quarterback Tony Romo. He's thrown 15 interceptions on the season. 12 of the 15 in Dallas. Romo off to a good start today. 6 of 9, 51 yards. First down as we begin the second quarter at Paul Brown Stadium. Play action. Romo steps out of trouble. Looks for Miles Austin. And just beyond his grasp. He had beaten the defender, Leon Hall, down the sideline.
Classic Tony Romo, stepping up in the pocket at just the right time to avoid the pressure and getting the ball down the field. The Cincinnati Bengals have had 4 sacks in each of the last 4 games. They've put great pressure on quarterbacks they face. So far, Romo has stayed pretty clean in the pocket.
Talked about their coordinator, Mike Zimmer, 7 years. As Leon Hall leaves the game with some kind of an injury. Second down, and put it in the hands of Felix Jones, and that'll be a gain of close to 4. You know, we've had a great chat with Mike Zimmer, the Bengals defensive coordinator, the 13 years in Dallas, and we asked him, did he think that he was going to be the head coach one day for Dallas? He said he thought he would.
Yeah, and things just kind of turn a certain way. You can tell Mike, and he's certainly deserving of that.
No doubt.
The job he's done with this group is nothing less than remarkable. There is, say, Manny Lawson, there is not one first-round draft choice in that front seven, and yet here they lead the league in sacks. He's done an incredible job. I believe he'll be high on the list of a lot of people come January when the coaching carousel begins.
They're down at 7. Romo gets it away, and again off target with an eye on Dez Bryant. But that was nowhere near first down yardage. Adam Jones right on him.
There again, a quick throw by Tony Romo. We saw this earlier where it was just a little bit behind Dez Bryant. He was under pressure, but now he and Dez Bryant, obviously Dez Bryant's got to appreciate the pressure that Tony Romo's under, but Tony Romo needed to deliver that ball. He's a big target. You can safely put that thing within the frame of the body. You don't have to be that accurate with Dez Bryant to get a reception.
That one nearly blocked. That may have gotten a hand on that. Tough to tell. Continues to roll all the way down to the Bengal 25-yard line. Was this ball touched by Daniel Boom Herron? Former Ohio State running back just activated. He may have gotten a piece of that.
We had a near block here. You can see on the outside, Herron does a nice job. Just activated today. Puts a little bit of a running back move on it here. And the key is, did he touch the ball? The official, you can see right there, tapping off, saying, yes, he did touch it. Otherwise, this would have been a penalty for hitting the kicker, but obviously got his hand on it.
Encroachment. Defense number 72. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Number 72 is Robert Callaway, another guy just brought up, with Jay Ratliff being down at nose tackle, and of course Josh Brent being involved as a driver in the automobile accident which killed his college teammate, his Cowboys teammate Jerry Brown Jr. early Saturday morning, late Friday night. And a first down and 5. It's an 8-yard carry for Ben Jarvis Green Ellis.
Well, you talk about the center of this defense, Tom, and what they've had to adjust to. Look at all the players that they've lost, and they've lost them right into the core of this defense. That's the problem for the Dallas Cowboys. They've lost. It's not so much who they've lost, which is always important, but where they've lost them. Nose tackle, both inside linebackers, the strong safety. When I say this defense has been gutted, I mean that literally, and that's where the Cincinnati Bengals are attacking. Now, Cincinnati is primarily a 3 wides team, but I think the fact that we're seeing so much 2 back, so much 2 tight end, is an indication that they want to keep that base personnel of Dallas on the field and test that depth of the interior defensive line.
What do you want, black?
Second down and 9, 4-man rush, and into the hands of A.J. Green, and that is a first down to midfield.
Just on the outside, you have to give Green this kind of leverage. You've got to back up on him. As you can see, Brandon Carr is right here. And anytime Andy Dalton sees that, many times they'll build in backside hitch route or stop routes. That's not the primary, but if Andy Dalton sees enough space over A.J. Green, he'll just raise up and hit it.
Dalton 6 out of 8, 62 yards and a touchdown. First down, they play fake it to Green Ellis, and looking down the field, and a poor decision by Dalton as Carr picks it off. Crossing midfield inside the 40, the 30, still on his feet and run out of bounds. First mistake of the day made by Andy Dalton. You can see that coming all the way up here.
Anytime you throw late down the field, there's always that tendency that bad things can happen. You're going to see the play action fake here, and then all the way across the field. Here comes Green. Gresham's coming across the field here. Down at the bottom, it goes bottom to midway to the very top. He's reading it bottom to top, and by doing that, he goes deep late.
A 37-yard return by Brandon Carr, who gets his second interception of the year. And now Dallas in business at the Cincinnati 27-yard line. Fake it to Murray, down the middle of the field to Witten, and he's chopped down inside the 5 and the 3. And he's limping back to the Cowboys' sideline, or will he stay in the game? He's going to stay in there. We're talking about a guy who had only missed 1 game in his career with a broken jaw.
Watch what the play fake does to the linebackers. That's what allows Jason Witten to get in behind it. The safety kept his width, counting on the depth of the linebackers to prevent that type of throw, but it's the play fake that got them to step up.
Murray in the backfield, but they're going to throw it to Austin. And is it a touchdown? It is ruled a touchdown.
Well, we're going to have to see the control. Nice job reaching up with the one glove, bouncing it back to the other. He has possession. Not yet. We'll see it. We'll see that right foot was down. The left foot was down. I don't know. I don't know that he had possession when we saw that first foot hit. We're going to have to look at this one again.
And they will look at it upstairs as they do on every scoring play. A coach does not challenge this play.
I don't think he had possession of the ball when we see that right foot land right there. He does not have possession yet. He does there with the left foot, but not the right. I believe this is going to be turned over.
So the play is under a review, and we will step aside.
After reviewing the play, the receiver only got 1 foot inbounds. Rolling on the field is incomplete pass. Second and goal at the 2-yard line on the left hash.
And you'd see it right here. As the right foot comes down, does he have possession? He does not have possession to begin with. I don't think as the foot comes off the ground, you can see the ball drops down. Here, the back foot is off the ground. He now has possession. Left foot is down. Right foot clearly out of bounds. Replay got it right.
All right, second down and goal at the Bengal 2. Vickers leading the way from Murray. And he's very close to the goal line. No signal given yet. And apparently did not get into the end zone, did not break the plane. There's an injured Bengal. Looks like Ray Malaluga. Still down on the field, now being... It looked like his teammates were going to help him up, and now he's down on both hands and both knees. He's the Bengals' leading tackler, and just named along with Andy Dalton as the team captains for the remainder of the year.
Here he's over the top and just looks like maybe he comes down on the shoulder or something. He went over the top, went airborne, trying to affect the play. Hard to say what happened there. Looks like they're looking with something in the lower body. And here's the decision for the Cowboys. Are you in 4-down territory? Are you going to take 2 shots at this, given your situation? You're on the road, all the things you're dealing with. You're down on the half-yard line. Jason Garrett's got to decide right now whether he's going to take 2 shots of this or 1 and settle for a field goal in his place calling sequence.
They have not been good inside the red zone this year. Penalties frequently have had a lot to do with that for this Dallas team this year. They are inside the 1 on 3rd and goal. 3 tight ends check in. Witten, Phillips, Hannah, along with the fullback Vickers. In front of Murray, who gets it. And did he find the end zone? He does. A touchdown for DeMarco Murray. His first game back, he had a touchdown last week and a touchdown in the opening half today, and he clearly broke the plane.
Yeah, right there. This too will be reviewed from above on any scoring play, but they'll see quickly it did break the plane. Great emotional response by the Dallas Cowboys, because it was not heading the way they wanted to go, the way the Cincinnati Bengals had driven down the field twice. The interception setting up the score, huge for the Dallas Cowboys right now.
So now a point after away from Dan Bailey. Tying this game up at 10 with 10 minutes to go until halftime. Good snap, good hold, and we are even. With 10:33, the Cowboys cash in following the Dalton interception. Well, the mistake by Andy Dalton on 3rd down. Brandon Carr stepping in front of his attempt to A.J. Green. And then on a 3rd and goal, DeMarco Murray up over the top. And the Cowboys celebrating a 10-10 game. You know, much was made of the Cowboys overhauling their cornerback position at the end of last year, trading for Carr from Kansas City, drafting Morris Claiborne. This is Brandon Tate, a yard out of his own end zone. And Tate, right at the 20, is stopped. We invite you to join the NFL celebrating 50 years of the Pro Football Hall of Fame right here in the Buckeye State. The golden anniversary up in Canton, Ohio. We invite you to join more than 10 million fans who have made the pilgrimage to the birthplace of the NFL. Visit ProFootballHallOfFame.com for more details and arguably the greatest offensive lineman of them all. The great Anthony Munoz makes his home here in Cincinnati, and not only a great player, but he is a Hall of Fame man. Brian Leonard checks into the backfield for the first time. Playing in place of Cedric Kierman. Kierman injured his ankle last week out in San Diego.
Well, Cincinnati continues to stay with regular personnel, which means a tight end, 2 back, or 2 tight ends. I think it's to challenge the Dallas Cowboys, as we've talked about, with the rotation on the defensive line, being shorthanded in the ways we've talked about, without Jay Ratliff, obviously without Brent. This is going to challenge the Cowboys, and I know the Cincinnati Bengals would love to wear down the Dallas Cowboys in that interior part of the line.
Leonard again looking for running room and just not much there. And coming down the line is Alex Albright. A homecoming for him. He played just up the road at Cincinnati St. Xavier High School. He was very excited about this trip back to his hometown and a good play there.
All right. Monday.
Boys, in this situation on third down, you want to know where A.J. Green is. He's at the top of the screen. They've got Gresham. Green, excuse me, Green's at the top. They've got Gresham in the slot.
Where we going? Right here.
And Hawkins dancing around, and Hawkins a guy they find, and he just blows right by Jenkins, still on his feet, and that is a first down up to the 35-yard line.
We talked about Hawkins, how that option now for Andy Dalton. You're going to see him come into motion on the backside. He starts inside with this quick release, and now this is what he brings to the table. His ability with yards after the catch. He doesn't have the first down marker here, but now with his athleticism, you can tell Rob Ryan none too happy about it. Nothing more frustrating than letting a team convert on a third down when a guy can break into the open field.
False start. Offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Cincinnati's got to pick up their tempo and emotion just a little bit. They were in total control. Obviously, Dallas responded the way they did here. Ray Malaluga on that goal line play, something going on with the right knee. Going to try to work it out. Hopefully he can get back into the game. But Andy Dalton's got to get a little energy going about this team that they had to start the game. Maybe even go into a little no huddle to challenge the pace of the Dallas Cowboys.
Leonard on a 1st and 15, gains 4, and we quickly check in out of Los Angeles with Kurt Menefee.
Well, Baltimore quarterback Joe Flacco has only thrown 4 passes all day. 2 of them have been touchdowns to Anquan Bolden. This one even the score with the Redskins 14 apiece in the second quarter. Tom and Brian.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. That's a good game. That's a big game for both of those teams today.
First time that game between these two teams, only 45 miles apart, has had this much import with it.
Down the middle, and wide open once again, the rookie Marvin Jones, and that's a first down in midfield.
Andy Dalton is spot on, almost laser-like in his abilities right now throwing the ball. Notwithstanding the 1 interception, you can see Jones up here, just right in behind the linebacker level, right in front of the safety. The precision, the depth, the height to drop this ball in without a play fake. So those linebackers were not stepping up at all. That was an incredible pass.
Bengals have made a change at center. Kyle Cook was a guy that was going to be their starting center when the season began. He got hurt. Jeff Fain came in. He was a starter. Got hurt, lost his job to the rookie Robinson, that we talked about, as Dalton escapes 1 tackle. And now rolling, looking down the field. He'll step out of bounds and got back to the original line of scrimmage. Cook was practicing for the first time this week.
And this is why he had to take off. Nothing going on the left side. Took a peek over there. Came back to the other side. Nothing there. That's what caused Andy Dalton to pull the ball down and get to the outside. You know, when it comes to your front 7 and your back end, it's real simple. It's the job of the secondary to make the quarterback pause so the defensive line can get to him, and it's the job of the defensive line to make him get the ball out early.
Leonard. Sims stepping up to wrap him up and drop him after a gain of close to 3. So it'll bring up another third down for the Bengals. 3rd and about 7. 10-10 game. Closing in on 6 minutes to play until halftime. Every game for these two teams, virtually a must-win game. For the Bengals trying to get back to the playoffs for the 2nd straight year. Cowboys have not been there in a couple of years.
Hey, Black!
one-handed reception inside the 25. Oh, goodness. Number 1 pick 3 years ago out of Oklahoma.
This is a spectacular one-handed grab. Gresham in the mold of the really good athletic tight ends coming into the league right now. Jimmy Graham in New Orleans. Jermichael Finley up with Green Bay. This is just taking it right off the rim with the one-handed rebound. That's a spectacular grab on a big third down for Cincinnati.
They wondered if Gresham would be healthy enough to go today, playing with a tender hamstring. No, BenJarvus, Green Ellis on his drive. It's Ben Leonard. And he's inside the 20, down to the 18. That's a gain of 4.
Now you see Green Ellis back into the ball game. Leonard's a good, tough inside tackle runner. BenJarvus, Green Ellis, not a huge outside guy, but he's got a little bit more bounce, a little bit more wiggle than Leonard. Gives them a few more options.
A very good start for Green Ellis, averaging nearly 7 yards per carry.
Graham in here, displaced from the line.
Green Ellis, did he catch that ball falling down? He did. That's at the 15. So that'll bring up another third down. A third down and 3.
Excellent catch by Green Ellis. Really hasn't been a big part of the passing game for the Cincinnati Bengals. Shows there he's got the hands to do it. Another key third down. Again, in this situation, the good thing about the receiving corps for the Bengals, they've got height. Whether it's obviously Gresham we've already seen, whether it's A.J. Green, whether it's Marvin Jones the rookie. These guys all have height that allows you to go up high, make them come down with the rebound if you want.
Another play to drive. He missed a wide open Hawkins. Or did Hawkins miss it?
I think that was just miscommunication. Andy Dalton thought he was going to break to the outside, and Hawkins kind of pulled out like he expected Dalton to bring it back to him. That's just a miscommunication. Again, Hawkins just back from injury, played last week, back at it this week as well.
So Josh Brown hit on his first field goal attempt as a Bengals, signed just this week after the injury to Mike Nugent. This one from 33 yards out. Out of the hold of his punter, Kevin Huber. And Brown nails it. 3:24 to play till halftime. 13-10 Cincinnati. Well, after the interception 2 drives ago, Dalton and the Bengals come back 12 plays, spanning nearly 70 yards, leading to a field goal and a 3-point lead. Wayne Harris out of his own end zone and will fake the handoff. He'll keep it himself, and he's down at the 11. Penalty flag on the field. Dan Scudo on the tackle, but we await on the penalty.
Well, the reverse had no effect on the Bengals, and they're about to be backed up, so they got to be hoping, the Dallas Cowboys that is, that this penalty will move it out from in the shadow of their own goal line. Always made me nervous when it took this long for them to figure out what they wanted to call, because I knew it wasn't going to be good for us.
During the return, illegal hands of the face. Kicking team number 26. 10-yard penalty. Dallas keeps the ball. First down.
So that'll give him a little bit of that breathing room. Taylor Mays, illegal use of the hands.
I think the Cincinnati Bengals dodged a bullet here after Dwayne Harris fakes the reverse. He gets wadded up in the pile here, and he never goes down, nor does his forward progress get stopped. I believe this thing's still alive. They eventually blow it dead, but they did not blow it dead immediately there. Cincinnati Bengals dodged a big one there.
Sure did. All right, Romo and the Cowboys with 3:18 to play. They have 2 timeouts. Started perfect through his first 5 attempts, 17 in a row carried up from his last game. But only 2 of 8 ever since, and it's not like he's been under a lot of duress from the leading sack team in the NFL, these Cincinnati Bengals so far.
Yeah, they've been very good in the offensive line and have not been able to get the pressure they typically do, particularly right up the middle of the defense where a quarterback is often pressed into a mistake.
I think they have some kind of issue with a play clock here. They're going to get straightened out.
The illegal hands on the defense is a 5-yard penalty. So it's 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line.
That's insult to injury now. You thought it was, you missed the fact that the ball carrier shouldn't have been blown dead, and now we back a 10 up to a 5.
Well, you coaches, you just can't let it go.
No, can't. I can't.
I mean, you can't get it out of your blood.
I know, but what else? What are you going to do? If you keep it in, you're going to get ulcers. That's the one thing I didn't get, was an ulcer.
So right now, Luga back in there for the Bengals. Good to see that. After leading with an injury on the Cowboys' last possession. DeMarco Murray, and he is dropped behind the line of scrimmage. One of the rising stars in the NFL is Geno Atkins. In his 3rd year out of Georgia, leads all NFL interior linemen with 9.5 sacks.
Great job just blowing through the pulling guard. The ball was supposed to go the other way. Geno Atkins read that with the pulling guard and just closed the distance to the ball carrier. Great way to start a drive if you're a defender.
Well, he is an animal, isn't he? Last year tied for the most sacks among all interior linemen in the NFL, and he is a landslide leader in that category this year. 2nd down and 14. Atkins bumped Romo, but he got it away. And a nice open field tackle made there by Leon Hall, who also left earlier with an injury.
It's so important to be able to tackle this Dallas Cowboy team in the open field. They're going to get the ball to Witten. They're going to get it to Des Bryant. They're going to get it to Miles Austin. That was an excellent open field tackle by Hall.
Well, now the Bengals are thinking about getting the football back before halftime. It looks like the Cowboys are going to let this thing run down to the 2-minute warning before a 3rd down and 9. 2 minutes to play until halftime. Big 3rd down when we come back. 3rd down and 9 for Dallas. 2-minute warning here in the opening half. Bengals have all 3 timeouts remaining. Surprisingly, did not spend a timeout after that 2nd down completion. Romo being chased, gets it away. And in traffic, what a catch made by Miles Austin. And an injured Bengal down on the field. It's Leon Hall for the 2nd time. A gain of 11 on a 3rd and 9.
This is just a great throw and catch. No helmet to helmet there. I think we're clean from that regard. Nice throw on the run. Of course, Tony Romo's ability to extend plays and make plays after he gets outside the pocket. It's Ben Roethlisberger-like, although in a different way.
Well, coming up at halftime, how about it, Kurt Menefee?
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, all the scores and highlights from around the league. Plus, can RG3 come up with a W in the Battle of the Beltway? And was it a big return for Big Ben against the Chargers? We'll find that out and a whole lot more as these guys will join us on the Visa Halftime.
How about that Battle of the Beltway, Coach Billick? You make your home in the Baltimore area.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, you know, the games that Baltimore and Washington typically play have not meant a lot to one or the other. It really is not that much of a rivalry. They don't play each other that much. And I think it's a little bit more to the Baltimore fans than the Redskin fans because of the absence of football in Baltimore for all that time. But obviously this one's got big ramifications for both teams.
Redskins and these Cowboys both 1 game behind the defending Super Bowl champion Giants. And nearly intercepted by the former Cowboy Newman. You know, we started to talk earlier about the changes made at cornerback for the Cowboys last year, and Newman, by all accounts, has had a better year than Brandon Carr.
Well, they just run a little twist front stunt in here. Romo throwing up, and this should have been a pick the other way. Newman would have loved to have had this on his old running mates. And they made a decision. He was on the, a little further down in his career. Right there, just tripped at the last little bit. A little disappointed that they didn't tell him directly they were going to let him go. He understood it. and decided to go with Brandon Carr in the big contract and draft Morris Clayton.
Blitz coming, good protection, and dropped by Harris. He was wide open at the 32-yard line. Third down and 10.
This is just a flat drop, no two ways about it. He was going to be able to run with this a little bit behind. Would need to reach back and be able to pull that one in. He might have gone a little bit. Whatever they do here, they need a completion, whether it converts on the third down or not, because they need that clock to continue to run rather than pump the ball back to Cincinnati with 2 timeouts.
Play clock down to 3.
Usually Jason Witten territory.
Just to get it off. And Romo flushed out of the pocket, and he is dragged down at the 15-yard line, and the Bengals will spend the timeout. And Romo might be hurt. A flag is down on the play. And good to see Romo bounce right back up. Maybe just got twisted out of sorts. And
he got twisted up at the end. It depends on did they grab him by the face mask? I don't know. I don't know what this one's going to be.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense number 96.
Wow.
that's on Carlos Dunlap. That's an automatic first down.
He's scrambling around this one. Now they're just holding on literally and figuratively at the last second right there. Don't see it there. Right there. Right at the last second. Really didn't need it. He just kind of reached up and boy, it's not this one. You're going to see it later coming in as he comes in to finish it off. You're going to see him get his hand on the face mask right in. Oh boy, just kind of twisted the helmet a little bit and held on to it. Yep, that's got to be called. And he didn't need it. That's regrettable. He's kind of wondering what happened. He thought he just reached up there and pulled him down. Not sure he realized he grabbed him in the face mask the way he did.
Meanwhile, Michael Johnson, the one who had Romo by the jersey, pulling him down. And I'm sure Marvin Lewis on the other side is saying, wait a minute now. You had him by the jersey. You're pulling him down. It's not at the old in the grasp in the effort to protect quarterbacks. Still in the grasp.
Yeah, but it's the face mask. It doesn't matter whether it's a quarterback or running back.
No, but you know what I'm saying here. Right. The quarterback in the grasp when they blow this play down.
Yeah, and probably right on the verge of doing just that.
Dunlap, meanwhile, the reigning AFC Defensive Player of the Week. He had 2 sacks, forced a couple of fumbles in their victory in San Diego. San Diego, by the way, shutting out the Steelers 10-0
on the road in Pittsburgh.
So a fresh set of downs after a would-be sack. And this Cowboys drive is still alive at the Bengal 31. Harris inbounds, clock continues to run. Cowboys have 2 timeouts left.
The 2-minute offense of the Dallas Cowboys in that Baltimore game we had came into question, Tom. Their use of the clock right now, they're being fairly efficient, but they need to pick up their pace.
Miscommunication there. You know, but by and large, Brian, I mean, outside of a little bit of pressure here on this drive, a drive that has been kept alive by a couple of penalties, this Dallas offensive line has held up pretty well against this Bengals pass rush, which we brought up earlier, leads the league in sacks.
Yeah, and we talked about Doug Free, the right tackle, kind of being under siege by the media and the public in terms of the beating Tony Romo has taken at the hands of the right tackle. He's held up very well, as you said. This is the leading sack group in the National Football League, and Romo, for the most part, save that last play we got bent backwards, has been untouched.
They did not get the play off. The ball is loose. Was timeout called before the play clock expired? Yes, it was by Dallas. So a 3rd down and 5 when we come back. Cowboys were penalized. It was a delay of game penalty before they got the timeout. So 3rd and 5 now is 3rd and 10 from their own 31-yard line. Romo spins his way out of trouble once more. Looking down the field, just throws the jump ball, and it is intercepted by Reggie Nelson. And they're saying he is down back at the 10-yard line. So Romo just threw it up there, more for survival.
And the Cincinnati Bengals are lucky he didn't get it up any quicker because Harris had gotten open deep. Romo having to scramble around and get the ball up late gave Reggie Nelson time to recover and get back underneath the interception. If he had gotten up a little bit earlier, this is about the same as a punt. This serves the purpose. Getting the ball up deep down the field. I know Cincinnati has 2 timeouts left, or excuse me, 1 timeout left, but this did serve the same purpose as a punt. So you can forgive Tony Romo this interception.
Well, he's talking to somebody on that sideline. You can read his lips. Come on, man. The Bengals are just happy to carry a 13-10 lead into the intermission.
He's talking to Harris. He wanted him to battle for that ball just a little bit more.
Bengals will get the ball to begin the second half. A critical game for both Andy Dalton and his Cincinnati Bengals team, along with the Dallas Cowboys. Both teams very much with postseason aspirations. Visa halftime coming up. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy tell you what's going on around the league. Let's go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles right now for the Visa halftime. Bengals will get the football to begin the second half. And Brian, you have been in this spot many, many times. You won a lot of games in Baltimore. You're down to the final 4 games of this season, now 3.5. And you're trying to get into the postseason. Follow your favorite NFL team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL.
Well, I got to believe that the Dallas Cowboys like where they are right now. They answered the emotional challenge of the first half. Obviously, the turnover has been the big difference for them so far.
They put it on the ground to begin the second half and picked up at the 15-yard line, then bringing it out to the 23, the backup tight end Orson Charles. Let's check in downstairs with Laura Oakland.
Tom, Tony Romo told me before the game he wasn't sure how this team would come out emotionally. Jason Garrett said he has really loved how they've come out with their focus, wants them to keep channeling their energy and emotion into the second half. Offensively, he said the key is going to be manageable downs and distances, converting third downs, and he wants to get the running game going. They, of course, are trying to do that against the league's top-rated sacking defense, which might be a little thinner. Defensive end Michael Johnson questionable. Marvin Lewis saying offensively the key right now, consistency running and passing.
Well, the Bengals did not run it as frequently as we thought they might in the opening half, and they're throwing on first down to begin the second half. And a completion is made up to the 29-yard line by Jermaine Gresham. Touchdown, field goal, the interception thrown by Dalton, and then a field goal, their final possession of the opening half.
Both these teams have actually been up and down the field, done a nice job converting on third down.
Put it in the hands of Hawkins. What a nifty move to get by Claiborne, and that's enough for a first down. Boy, he is dark quick as Andrew Hawkins.
And this is the element that he gives them. We're seeing more and more of these kind of quick screens to the outside coming up from the college game. Everybody needs this kind of guy in the slot to go with their normal receiving core. That scat back guy that can take a quick throw like that and turn it into 8, 9, 10-yard game.
Andy Dalton now over 3,000 yards in each of his first 2 years in the league. Only Peyton Manning's ever done that before him. A.J. Green, couple of quick moves, and then crosses midfield to the 48-yard line. 3 straight completions to begin the second half by Dalton.
Andy Green continues to come Andy Dalton continues to come to A.J. Green anytime Brandon Carr backs off, as he did there. They're giving him lots of room. They don't want him to go deep. DeMarcus Ware not rushing the quarterback, and that instance coming back and making the play. This is what the new hybrid linebacker in the National Football League looks like. Gets after the passer, can also jump into coverage.
He had a shoulder/neck injury, did DeMarcus Ware last week. Good strong running, keeping his feet on the ground and churning by Green Ellis. DeMarcus Ware has gone back-to-back games and now back-to-back games and a half without a sack.
Yeah, but his influence is being felt. This guy is unbelievable in terms of, everybody keeps talking about his transition from speed to power. He can beat you around the edge and then transition into a bull rush as well as anybody in the National Football League.
Second down and 4, and back to Green Ellis, and he's about a yard short of a first down.
Where just right in here looks like as he came down, I don't know whether it's McCray coming on top of him or hitting the ground. Right, that last little bit, that last little torquing got him a knot.
That's what we talked about. If indeed it is that right shoulder and it looks like he reaches for the right arm. That's where he was injured last week.
And he just looks like he's talking about his elbow. Boy, how many times have we seen this? Terrell Suggs leaving the game last week because of a torn bicep. Anytime I see a player moving an arm like that, it concerns me, but it looks like maybe just the elbow. Looks like he's working it out okay.
About 2 inches short of the first down.
Well, right now the Bengals are picking up where they left off in the first half. Did not punt in the entire first half. They're moving the ball efficiently here. And they continue to put different personnel groupings in, trying to force the Cowboys to keep up with them with the depleted front seven that the Cowboys are dealing with right now.
On 3rd and 1 this year, the Bengals 13 times have given it to Green Ellis, and 12 of the 13 he's gotten them a first down. And naturally they're going to throw. And they get the first down. Orson Charles, a rookie tight end. Bang, out of bounds at the 23-yard line.
Well, they were trying to get the big play down the field with the play fake. Thought they could get a cheap one on a 3rd and short. Didn't happen. Fortunately, he had the little drop-off man in Charles to preserve the 3rd down.
Charles, the youngest Bengal at 21 years old. They're tending to an injured Cowboy on the sideline. That's Morris Claiborne. Well, the very bad news is Morris Claiborne's still down. The good news is, Brian, they have moved him and rolled him over, which generally you wouldn't if you thought initially it was a very serious injury. Look at this shot.
Yeah, and as he goes to make the tackle, you can see McCray come in here and he kind of gets sandwiched in between McCray, Ernie Sims, and trying to bring down Charles as well. So just kind of the perfect storm, and don't want to project what could possibly be the case here, but it is a good sign that they rolled him over. And he's up. That's a good sign right there.
Sure is. While we have a moment, let's check in with Kurt Menefee back in Los Angeles.
All right, Tom, thanks a lot. The 11-1 Atlanta Falcons being taken to school in Carolina. That is Cam Newton breaking loose, 72-yard touchdown run for the Panthers' leading rusher. Nice block from Steve Smith, Super Cam, and the Panthers leading the Falcons 23-0. Tom, Coach Billick, back to you.
Well, it's Patrick O'Neal stepping in there here to begin the second half.
Yeah, it's good to see that he's up and moving around, and now the Cincinnati Bengals need to continue on with this pacing they've had. As I said earlier, they have not punted. I don't know that the Cowboys have really stopped them yet except for the turnover, and it hasn't come in the way. They've run the ball okay, but obviously both clubs knowing that was going to be the key to stop the run, so both clubs are taking advantage of quick throws to the outside.
Drive began from the Cincinnati 23, 6 plays, 54 yards, and Andy Dalton is perfect on it, 4 out of 4. Fake handoff. Dangerous throw, but a catch is made, and again it's Marvin Jones, a rookie. And that is a first down at the 12-yard line.
You know, people talk about the arm strength of Andy Dalton, but you're going to see here first Ware coming off the edge, a little bit of a play fake. And I want you to watch this throw by Andy Dalton. That's after a play fake off the left hash to the far right side. He's got all the arm strength you need to play in this league.
Wait, dummy.
Three receivers set. Green, Ellis in the backfield, and they have their starting center, Trevor Robinson, back in there to begin the second half. Early movement. That'll back up the Bengals 5.
Ball start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It's always hard to tell when a lineman jumps like that. Is it him or is the Cates the quarterback? They have been rotating the centers in through there. The pacing of it all. But boy, down in the red zone to get yourself backed up once you get down there. Now put you in a 1st and 15.
Dalton looking around, still looking, and he will tiptoe out of bounds along the sideline. Picked up 5 yards.
The question is what does the loss, and there is a flag here. We're trying to figure out what this is about.
That came from the Dallas sideline.
I don't know that Rob Ryan's allowed to throw a flag, though.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Dallas bench.
Wow.
After this into the goal.
Wow.
Automatic.
Holy mackerel.
Boy, that's lethal. You get him backed up to a 1st and 15, and I don't know what was said, but it had to be something substantial for them to throw a flag on it. I can't remember the last time I saw a flag come on something that was said from a sideline.
You can read his lips at 71. That's a hold.
And more importantly, it gives them an automatic first down. It erases that hole of 1st and 15 they put themselves in with the illegal procedure.
So first and goal from the 9. Green, Ellis for a couple of yards.
And the exchange looks like it's here with Rob Ryan going on Andre Smith, and again, that's not going to happen. And obviously, the official in earshot of that did not want to see that go on. Anytime you get into an exchange with a player, it's not a good one.
And that was after all the flattering words that Rob Ryan had in regard to Andre Smith when we asked about it.
Offensive line, yeah.
Dalton rolling, throws back to the end zone, and that is a touchdown for Marvin Jones. A penalty flag is on the play. If it stands, it'll be the first career touchdown for Marvin Jones.
Well, I don't know that I've seen as many conferences as we've seen today. This is just around the back line. You can hear he gets jammed out of bounds. He was forced out of bounds, reestablished himself back in. The key is he was forced out of bounds.
Illegal touch.
Nope.
Offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down. The receiver went out of bounds. Was first to touch.
And that he reestablished himself, but he cannot be the first. It was not an illegal chuck. He cannot be the first to have contact with it.
And now the ball backed up, going forward, going back. Ever since the Bengals crossed midfield, penalties on both teams, including the big one on, we're assuming, Rob Ryan. The second and goal. Jump ball and jarred loose out of the hands of Gresham. Gerald Sensabaugh and Sims back in coverage to break it up.
Great timing on this, because how often here, and this is just the plight of a defender, how do I make this hit without having the helmet-to-helmet, defenseless player, all the things we talk about, yet still do my job and knock this ball free? This was perfect timing and a perfect hit by Sensabaugh.
4-year starter in Jacksonville in his 3rd year as a starter now with the Cowboys. Sensabaugh. 3rd and goal from a 12. And another flag down.
There's a penalty flag on the field. 12 men, defense. Wow. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Well, it's been going on all year. I don't know why anybody would be surprised that this kind of thing is happening to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it's not to say they can't come back and win this game, but there's been a lot of this going on this year.
Well, and not to make an excuse for the Cowboys in any sense or imagination, but with the changes they've had to go through, the different packages, getting the right people on and off, Jason Garrett's got to be asking his own troops, guys, what are we doing here? We have all these signals and all these calls to get the right personnel on the field.
Apex right.
Got to get corrected at some point. Critical error makes it a much more convertible 3rd down.
Quick slant and dropped. A rare drop by the normally sure-handed A.J. Green. And so, failing to take advantage of a couple of penalties, the Bengals forced to try a field goal.
He was thinking touchdown all the way, never really looked the ball into his hands, was figuring the next step for him was going to be in the end zone. Like you say, very, very rare drop for A.J. Green.
And now Josh Brown, 2 of 2 in his Bengal debut. Just signed 2 days ago after the injury to Mike Nugent. 25-yard try to give him a 6-point lead, and he's 3 for 3 in the day. Dallas gets the ball for the first time in the 2nd half when we come back.
All right, let's talk about why the touchdown was negated. It begins with Andy Dalton getting outside the pocket on the right. That's the key. Once he gets outside the pocket, you can see the contact on the left no longer is illegal contact because Andy Dalton is outside the pocket. Had he stayed inside the pocket, that would have been illegal contact. As it were, that was legal contact. He could not be the first one to touch the ball coming back into the field of play.
16-10 Bengals, and taking a knee is Harris. So Tony Romo and the Cowboys take the field when we come back.
We saw Morris Claiborne take a wicked hit when the Cowboys defense was on the field. Best injury report update I can do, Tom. He is in the locker room undergoing x-rays. It is just a cut lip, according to the Cowboys. His return is questionable. Linebacker Anthony Spencer also in the Cowboys locker room. He is he is having an IV right now.
All right, Lloyd, thank you very much. That is good news on Morris Claiborne. The Cowboys for the first time on offense here in the 2nd half, and boy did Romo take a lick on the very first throw from Geno Atkins. And Romo slow to get up. Boy, did he get leveled.
Both inside and outside. We made a point of saying that Romo has been pretty clean in the first half in throwing the ball, and here coming right out of the gate, he gets licked. And again, typically inside Geno Atkins. That's the unique thing about the rush of the Cincinnati Bengals. Their best rush comes from the inside rather than the outside.
Second down at 10. Little delay. And look who's there again. Right in the middle of that Cincinnati defense. We're going to be talking about this young man for a long time to come.
Boy, you could tell he is a man possessed right there. Whether it's sack or getting a guy back in the backfield for a loss of yardage, he is just beating up on these guards. And Mike Zimmer told us when they went and got Geno Atkins in the draft, it was the idea that your best matchup is inside on the guards. You put the best athletes outside of tackle, well, then we'll get some that can beat your lesser athlete that is at guard.
Quick throw, but nowhere near the first down yardage. And again, it's Adam Jones in the coverage of Bryant. Jones has done a good job here today.
Well, this is the first catch for Bryant. And again, it was the same kind of catch on the outside that they've been trying all day long.
Call Star NFL to download NFL Mobile now and get coverage of every NFL game. First offensive series for Dallas. 3 and out. Laura Oakman had a lengthy discussion with Adam Jones, no longer known as Pac-Man Jones, and all the issues he had off the field in his young life. And she's going to talk more about that later. Another terrible punt by Mormon. Well, he's had a rough day. Bengals in good field position, close to midfield.
Well, Brian Mormon, you can see on his face, has had a rough day. He's had punts of 23, 39, and 27. That last one giving the Cincinnati Bengals a chance to start their drive just on their side of the 50-yard line.
What would you say to a punter after 3 punts like those?
Son, you got to kick it better.
First down, Dalton short on the throw to a wide open Chris Presley. January the 4th, down at Big D, one of the great bowl events of the year, and we'll have the Heisman Trophy winner, Johnny Manziel, 9th-ranked Texas A&M against the 11th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. The AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic, January the 4th, only on Fox. Andy Dalton looking for the long ball. And overthrows Green. Excellent coverage in the Dallas secondary. A 3rd down and 10. Are you surprised the Bengals, who have been the best rushing team in the NFL over the last month, are so infrequently running the ball so far today?
Yeah, some of it's got to be based on what Dallas is doing, but with Claiborne hurt, Dallas has become much more passive in the secondary. I'm a little surprised by that last throw because Dallas has become very passive. Obviously, with one of their top corners out, they're sitting in a lot more passive zone, a 2-deep zone. That's a tough shot down the field.
3rd down and 10. Dalton looking, zips it in there, and it's incomplete. And a flag comes in. A blow to the head, it appeared, on the receiver Marvin Jones. Bengals already so thin at the wide receiver position after that injury to Sanu.
I think you're going to see it here. Ernie Sims comes in late and kind of takes the shot in a drive-by. The ball's incomplete, and right there, the shot, it glanced right off his shoulder pad, turned the helmet. That's a helmet-to-helmet on a defenseless player. Right there. Rob Ryan's already down in his troops in a lot of different areas. Morris Claiborne out already. Now if Eric Frampton right now looks like he's dealing with something, maybe a shoulder injury.
And that's Eric Frampton, who is injured.
They're running out of numbers here on the secondary. Jason Garrett's pleading his case, but I don't know that he has much of one because clearly it was a shot to the helmet. It doesn't have to be helmet to helmet. You can see right there, Ernie Sims gets his shoulder pad on the helmet, and that's enough to restart the drive for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Green Ellis inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. Bengals had a touchdown nullified when Jones stepped out of bounds. Been a nice play by Sensabaugh. And the Bengals failed on the drop by Green to get a touchdown. And it would have been 3 and out were it not for that last penalty on Sims.
To get the ball in midfield and have to give up the ball after a 3 and out. So that penalty is a big one, at least right now.
Poorly thrown ball behind the wide receiver Gresham. 3rd down.
As good as Andy Dalton has been today with some of his throws, he seems to be just a little off with some of the underneath throws. We saw one earlier to Hawkins in scoring position in the first half there. It looked as though he thought Gresham was going to settle down a little bit more. Gresham thought he was going to lead him.
Anthony Spencer back into the ball game. Dalton has missed on his last 5 attempts. One of them a drop by A.J. Green. And this one is dropped by A.J. Green as well.
Wow. You can go a couple games and not see a drop by A.J. Green right here. He just gets to the corner. They bring someone underneath to pull up. Brandon Carr, he's wide open, going to have a first down inside the 20 and just can't take it to the ground. 2 drops by A.J. Green. You can go, like I said, 4 or 5 games and not see 2 drops by this young man.
Well, the Bengals are short a man as they're trying to line up for a field goal. This will be with the play clock running down to 5, and they're going to have to spend a timeout.
That happens to both sides. We saw Dallas victimized inside the red zone with their defensive personnel, turning into a first down for Cincinnati. Fox tonight. Wow. Animation domination. You've been waiting for this one. As an all-new night of Young Love and Cool Cats. It's The Simpsons,
wow,
Bob's Burgers, Family Guy, and American Dad. Starting at 8, 7 Central tonight on Fox.
Run that by me again. Young what?
Young Love.
And Cool Cats.
Cool Cats. I like that.
Wow. Very nice. You continue to add to your repertoire, if you will. All right, Brown 3 of 3 in his Bengal debut. And this one from 52 yards out. His career long is 58. So plenty of leg for Brown. Does he have enough on this day? And it is plenty good. That would have been good from 62 out.
And
the little things you do.
And that is huge, because that now takes it to, we talk about it all the time, Tom, a 2-score differential. That's huge in this game.
Again, this guy just signed after they brought him in with 2 other kickers. Earlier in the week, Mike Nugent, their regular kicker, injured his right calf. Of course, the Cowboys know all about Josh Brown. You may remember back in 2005, he had 2 50-plus yard field goals in the same game, kicking for Seattle. One of them, the game winner, from 50 yards out as time expired.
And this will test your organization. When you lose your kicker during the course of the season, you have to give Mike Brown, the Cincinnati Bengals, kudos for jumping on that, knowing the direction they wanted to go, get Brown signed, and now he's in a position where a big kick like that taking into a 2-score differential. You know, Tony Romo, you look at how his game has been, and we talked about the need for the running game that really hasn't materialized today. He did have the key is he stayed away from the turnovers as of late. That's been the key.
Well, the Dallas defense has done a much better job today. After giving up 33 points to an injury ravaged Philadelphia team a week ago, for the Bengals, they were hammered in the season opener at the road in Baltimore, then ripped off 3 straight wins. But then losses to Miami, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Denver. Losers of 4 in a row, and now winners of 4 in a row. That began with a rout of the Giants right here. And now trying to make it 5 straight wins. The Steelers are losing. Baltimore is beating Washington by a point in the 3rd quarter. Take the run, and Romo finds Witten. Big gain for Jason Witten to the 43. Man, this guy's a player. Grew up not too far from here in Elizabethtown, Tennessee.
And that was just an afterthought. I want you to watch here. He's there for protection. Chipping, chipping, chipping. Romo's got his eyes downfield at the last minute. Witten just kind of falls off the protection mode. Romo always looking for his guy. Bails him out with a huge explosive play on an afterthought.
Dez Bryant 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Boy, that was, I don't know that wasn't a little ill-advised. And you had a penalty on the play. And I'm not quite sure what happened here. Oh, they're just spotting it. I thought it was a penalty the way they moved back. Yeah, you get a big play out of a give me to Jason Witten. You're on the move. A reverse like that, and now puts you back in 2nd and a ton.
Des Bryant has 1 catch in this game for 8 yards. And by and large, it has been Adam Jones on Des Bryant all day long.
And now we're beginning to see a little bit of that pressure we talked about to begin. Obviously, the inside pressure where it's most lethal, he makes the play fake. Now they're getting into him late, and he's got to get rid of the ball. Nice job keeping up with the pressure on the inside by D'Amato Pecco.
Third down at 20. Only a 3-man rush. What a hit, and the ball is jarred loose, and a flag comes in on the other side of the field, and Des Bryant doing a lot of jawing in there along with Reggie Nelson.
Wow. Yeah, again, there certainly wasn't helmet, shoulder-to-helmet contact.
Defense number 20. Get on the defensive receiver. 15-yard automatic first down.
Well, I don't know about that one. I don't know how you hit a guy cleaner than that. Certainly trying to break up the ball. There was no contact with the helmet. That's a frustrating one for the players. He brought his aiming point low. Yeah, that's a tough one if you're standing on the Cincinnati sideline. And what are they? Yeah, they're calling the hitting the defenseless receiver.
Yep.
I don't know how you hit him. You almost just have to let him catch the ball.
Brown watching the replay over and over again. And now a flag comes in from the far side of the field and into the secondary. Reggie Nelson is still pleading his case.
Second charge timeout. Cincinnati.
So the Bengals call timeout.
Yeah, they obviously got it called just before the flag was for. Yeah, they obviously got the call in just in time.
Let's check in with Kurt Menefee back in Los Angeles.
Well, while the Bengals are winning, at least for now, the Steelers are losing. This is called a lateral, therefore it's a fumble. San Diego's Quentin Jammer falls on it in the end zone for a touchdown, and the Chargers in Pittsburgh up 27-3 in the third quarter. Tom, Brian, and Laura.
You know, Brian, I wonder sometimes, there's no debate. Ben Roethlisberger is not at 100%. We know that. But he comes back this week, and clearly this has been a major letdown for the Steelers.
Well, that's the decision they have to make. First, it begins with the doctors. Is he okay? You got to check with the player. Are you okay? And then the coach has to make the final determination. Are you okay enough to play? Or are you going to put this team at risk?
Cornell back in there at right tackle once again for Doug Free. They've been going in and out. After the penalty on Nelson, an automatic first down for Dallas on a 15-yard penalty. Incomplete, looking for DeMarco Murray. A lot of emotion on the field right now. Reggie Nelson and Des Bryant going at it back and forth.
And the pressure of this defensive front four of the Bengals is beginning to show up. We didn't see much in the first half. We commented on how clean Tony Romo had been in the pocket. But since the first play of this second half, you're starting to see this defensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals that leads the league in sacks. And 31 of the 39 sacks have come from the defensive line for this Bengal group.
Only one sack today officially, but that pressure beginning to mount. And escaping a second sack, and then Romo tries to feed it to Vickers, and it's batted down.
And that's typically a play that comes back and gets Tony Romo. You're going to see pressure on the inside as we've seen the whole game. And as Tony Romo starts to make this kind of move, how often have we seen Tony Romo make a big play this way, but also turn the ball over?
That was Atkins breathing down after Dunlap forced the initial pressure, and Maualuga almost got it. 3rd down and 10. A lot of heat.
1 sack, but the 7 hits. Almost as good as a sack.
And here they come again, and that's another sack. Nelson called for the penalty a moment ago, ends a Cowboy drive.
Great pressure call by Mike Zimmerman, the defensive coordinator, bringing Reggie Nelson off the edge just for added measure with this defensive line pressure from his Bengals.
Another poor punt, and again the question is, was it blocked again for a second time by Daniel Boom Herron? Herron, a great running back at Ohio State, has been on the practice squad all year long. They just activated him for the first time today. He blocked one earlier.
And it's the exact same move he used earlier to nearly block the previous punt.
That's a way to stay on the active roster.
Yeah, you do a couple of those and you're going to fall in the good favor of just about anybody. Philip Tanner, the edge blocker on the punt team for the Dallas Cowboys, someone needs to pull him aside and explain exactly what Herron's doing to him.
Yeah.
That one a 27-yard punt. 23-39, and twice 27-yard punts today by Mormon. And 2 of those chipped by Herron. 4:38 to go in the 3rd quarter, and again they're throwing on 1st down.
And that's basically with a 3-man rush. They're getting very, very passive, you can see here. It's just a 3-man rush. He's going to try to drop it off because once he took a look at it and saw that the Cowboys were dropping off, he was just going to dump it off underneath, almost like an extended handoff. But I don't know there's a lot of profit in going down the field a great deal right now, as passive as the Cowboys secondary is.
Yeah.
2nd down and 10. Bengals beginning this drive from their own 34-yard line. Hawkins, a 1st down. Crowd looking for a flag after Sterling Moore, who they just signed last Saturday and wound up playing in the game on Sunday, threw Hawkins to the ground.
And he's in for the injured Morris Claiborne, and that's why they're in more of these passive defensive coverages to account for the new player in Moore in this defense. I don't think they want to get him one-on-one on the outside with any of these receivers, whether it be A.J. Green or Hawkins.
Well, the 1st down up to the 45. Well, there are changes on both sides of the ball. You don't know if it's injury, ineffectiveness. Once again, the Bengals have gone back to Cook at center. And that's a gain of 5 on a 1st down catch by BenJarvus Green-Ellis.
And there is inefficiency in those types of throws when a team wants to get as passive as Dallas is right now. That's a good way to go. And here we see Cincinnati going to a no huddle, trying to change up on the Dallas Cowboys, see if they can shake loose some coverage.
Followed up at the line of scrimmage and maybe a pickup of a yard. So it'll bring up 3rd down and 4. And this is a stop the Cowboys need badly.
Well, the last couple 3rd downs have been there for the Cincinnati Bengals. We've just had a couple drops.
Bengals have not punted, but nor have they cashed in.
There's the matchup right there. Moore on Green if you're looking for a matchup.
And that's what I mean by cashed in. Either a pass slightly off the mark, a receiver losing footing, a receiver dropping a ball, Dallas hanging around.
We've seen these types of miscues on the last 3 3rd downs. 2 to Hawkins, 1 to Gresham, where Andy Dalton either thinks they're going to continue on or throttle down, and the receiver doesn't see it the same way.
So the first time we've called the name of Kevin Huber today. Born and raised Cincinnatian. and punts for the first time. That one dropped inside the 10. This guy's as good as anybody in the league. He had 3 of them down inside the 15 last week. 47 yards, and the ball down to the 2-yard line. This guy's really been a weapon for this Bengals team this year.
Well, the change of field position here, he did one of those reverse rugby kicks that everybody's so good at now, where the ball gets the reverse rotation. It hit beautifully. Nice job by the special teams. This is where you're looking for a turnover if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. This is where you want to put some pressure on Tony Romo. They've have begun to get pressure with just their 4-down linemen. The secondary, if you can be patient enough back there, you can force Romo into a turnover.
Number 2 to give it to Murray. And he's up to the 6-yard line. Romo started off red hot today, but ever since that 5-for-5 start, it's been a tough go.
Yeah, and it all has to do with the pressure that's been brought of late. We made the comment early that this defensive line, even though they weren't getting home in the first half, they might be wearing down that offensive front of the Dallas Cowboys, and you're seeing that now in the second half.
Romo drops it off to Murray. And that second effort appears to be enough for a first down. And it is up to the 13-yard line.
Like we said, DeMarco Murray been fairly good out of the backfield, but there again, that's just a little gift from above. Romo under pressure, just looking to get the ball out of his hands, and Murray using his athleticism just with that last little step in bounds to convert on the 3rd down.
First down carry, no room. And certainly the crowd, they continue to put up the score over and over. And what San Diego is doing to Pittsburgh, if the Bengals win here and the Steelers lose today, the Bengals would have the 2nd wild card spot, the lead in the 2nd wild card spot right now in the AFC. In fact, depending on what Indianapolis does in a tight one right now with Tennessee, they could be tied for the best wild card record.
They're watching that Baltimore game as well, only up by 1 against Washington.
Sitting down right at the 18-yard line, Lance Dunbar, and looks to be about a half-yard short of a first down. Well, that's to the 20-yard line, I beg your pardon, about 3 shy of a first down. So 3rd down upcoming for the Cowboys.
Marvin Lewis told us they were willing to give up a little bit in the running game to not let Romo get cranked up with Dez Bryant on the outside, Jason Witten as well, get Miles Austin cranked up, but they have given up some plays now with these drop-offs to the running backs and dropping it off underneath. That's gotten some pretty decent yards to put them in manageable 3rd downs.
They're going to let the clock expire on the 3rd quarter. 19-10 Cincinnati. The final stanza around the corner. Well, you take a look inside the AFC playoff picture. We know Houston's already in. Denver's in. Baltimore, a 2-game lead in the North over both the Steelers and the Bengals. But the Steelers losing big at home to San Diego, and Baltimore in front by 1 in Washington.
Yeah, going to make it very interesting, this race in the AFC North. And if Indianapolis loses, could drag some other teams up into the market as well for that wild card spot.
3rd down and 3. Opening play of the 4th quarter. Blitz coming. They pick it up. They get it away. And Miles Austin, a first down catch up to the 35. That's a big one for Dallas.
Tony Romo
One-on-one with Terrence Newman. Nice break on the quick slant inside. Nice high pass. Gives him a chance to bring it down into his body. Very difficult for the defender to reach in and knock it down when it's good and high like that at eye level.
A little bit of confusion on a Cincinnati defense, and the Bengals have to spend their final timeout of the half.
Last two because of substitution errors that they needed to get corrected.
Well, while we have a timeout here, let's send it back to Curt Menefee in Los Angeles.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have something they haven't had all day, a lead against Philadelphia. Josh Freeman looking up with Vincent Jackson, 13 yards on the reception, 13 points for the Bucs. And they add the extra point to make it 14-10. Tom and Brian.
Talk about a team that is a must-win today. It would be that game for Tampa Bay. Now, we don't know what's going to happen over the final 3 weeks, but when you've got a reeling Philadelphia team at home, you got to have that game. You see Washington, Dallas, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, all beginning today. One game back of Seattle for the second wild card spot. The Bears, by the way, losing. Seattle will play later at home against Arizona. Well, it's going to be some kind of finish, Brian.
Yeah, not only for the wild card spot, but for that NFC. We said it when the show opened up, Tom. 9-7 might win it. I don't know that 9-7 will get in as a wild card. You're likely going to have 10-6, but 9-7 could very well win the NFC East.
Giants will be the back end of America's Game of the Week, our doubleheader, hosting New Orleans in a must-win game for the Saints to have any hope of a playoff spot. Romo. Flag down, and look who's there again. This guy is all over the field, Geno Atkins. You hear so much about him before we get into town. This will be a penalty against the Cowboys.
Holding. Offense number 71. Penalties declined.
Right in here. Gets Watt up inside. And look how he just fights his way out of it. The only thing you can do is hold him. And Livings knew that. Boy, that's huge, because now you don't have to take the penalty and save the down. That's just relentless on the part of Geno Atkins.
Loss of 7. Atkins now with 11 sacks on the year. That is 5.5 more than the next closest defensive tackle in the NFL. Murray cuts it back the other way, gets up to the 36. And a third down and almost 10 for the Cowboys, who trail by 9 in the opening minutes of the fourth quarter.
And this is where your four-man rush really has to get home. If you can afford to put just 4 people committed to the pass rush to get after Romo, the latitude that gives you on the back end is huge when you have a team with as many targets as does the Dallas Cowboys. Showing pressure inside, but I believe they'll drop out.
Thrown behind, but caught nonetheless by Harris, but short of the first down, so the Cowboys punting. And again, it's Adam Jones, who you notice has been given a special teams captain.
Ryan Morman, punt formation for Dallas, Cincinnati, number 24.
And he will wait on the punt. Jones going the wrong way and dropped back at the 6-yard line. 19-10, Bengals in front with the ball. Rain beginning to fall for the first time. It was in the forecast. It's been a very rainy weekend here in Cincinnati. Bengals with the ball and a 19-10 lead. A long way to go here at Paul Brown Stadium. It's been an extremely difficult 36-hour period for Jerry Jones and the entire Cowboys organization after the car crash with Josh Brent behind the wheel, his college teammate. teammate with the Cowboys, Jerry Brown Jr., lost his life in the accident late Friday night, early Saturday morning. Green Ellis. A big gain up close to midfield, and a flag comes in late. This will be against Dallas again. Green Ellis, the last 2 games, runs of 48, 39, 41, and 42 here.
Illegal block in the back. Offense number 18. 10-yard penalty. Result of the play. First down.
There he's on. You're going to see on the edge. A nice job getting the edge. And now he gashes through the heart of that defense like we've talked about. That has been the issue for the Dallas Cowboys. And right at the end, A.J. Green, just that little push, kind of pedestrian, but he did push from the back. This is the type of play that the Dallas Cowboys feared with the stunning and movement of their defense. They can stop you for a 1-yard gain, stop you for a 2-yard gain, and then boom, you get gashed for a 30-yard gain.
Green Ellis, 11 carries, 91 yards, trying to go over 100 for the 4th consecutive week, which would tie a Bengals all-time franchise record. And that was set in their expansion year of 1968 by Paul Robinson.
And it's the combination of him getting more familiar with the offense. The offensive line has stayed relatively healthy, and as we said earlier, Rob Ryan said this is the most physical offensive line they've faced. So it's the combination of two that has finally, over the last 4 and 5 games, and in particular beginning with that New York game we did, has gotten this running game on track.
Fake it to Green Ellis this time, and now Dalton in trouble, and just flings it along the sideline. Incomplete. Flag down.
Pass intended for Marvin Jones is incomplete. There's a penalty flag on the field.
Holding. Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Kyle Cook, we mentioned he was their starter at the beginning of the year. Been hurt the entire season until this week.
Right here in the middle. Right now they're just kind of pushing and shoving, and as he breaks out of the pack, you can see there he kind of pulls him into the body, which is typically, you see that anytime a quarterback breaks outside of the pocket, all of a sudden an offensive lineman feels that defensive lineman leave him. It's hard not just to reach out and grab it.
Yeah.
That is the 8th penalty of the afternoon for the Bengals, and that's Brian Leonard up to the 32-yard line. 3rd down and long as we close in on 11 minutes to play.
Now on a 3rd and long is where you've got to trust your quarterback. It's likely the Cowboys will get very, very relaxed in their coverage, let you throw anything you want underneath and rally up to make the tackle. Andy Dalton's got to be very certain of anything he puts down the field at the first down chain markers.
Dallas calling a timeout before a 3rd down for Cincinnati with a 9-point lead. Well, the rain started and stopped. She figured she was pretty comfortable in that gear.
That's a good look. That's your Halloween costume, wasn't it?
Or it might be next year.
Well, it depends on who wins the game, right?
That's right. All right, Bengals 4 out of 9 on 3rd down, but a lengthy 3rd down and 12 here. Dalton had all day to throw it. And then the first sack in the last 3 weeks for DeMarcus Ware, giving him 11 on the year.
That's just patience on DeMarcus Ware's part. Figured I'll get home at some point. He's going to go. He's going to work. Actually, Andre Smith's done a nice job on Ware the whole game. Andy Dalton having no place to go with just a 3-man rush, dropping everybody else into coverage.
Andy Dalton becomes the 46th different quarterback. DeMarcus Ware is sacked in his Hall of Fame debut career. That one punted away by Huber and then dropped immediately as Harris.
Wayne Harris on the punt return. Dropped immediately by
Hawkins, the early touchdown to give Cincinnati the 7-3 lead. Cowboys tied it at 10. Romo intercepted in the final minute of the opening half. It was really not a big deal, but it started the sequence of every time now he goes back to throw, seemingly under major pressure from this Bengal team led by its coordinator Mike Zimmer, which leads the NFL in sacks, 40 of them on the year.
And it began with the first play of the second half when they got home to Romo.
Quick, down.
Second catch of the day, and once more, there with him step for step all day long has been Adam Jones. You know, Jones's history is well documented. #1 pick out of West Virginia. Extraordinary talented young man, but so many issues off the field. Was suspended for a year. Dallas traded for him. Played in 9 games for them in 2008 before being suspended the final 6 games of the year. But my oh my, how his life has changed and really turned around for the better ever since. For more on that, here's Laura.
I talked to Adam about those issues, Tom. He told me, I thank God for what I went through in Dallas, because if I didn't, forget playing football, I'd be in jail or dead right now. He said the light bulb went on in 08 during that suspension when his daughter asked him, Daddy, why aren't you playing football? I'll finish this in a moment.
Clear down and hurry up mode, and Romo gets it away. And beaten is Jones by Bryant on the short 4-yard pickup. I beg your pardon, it's Ogletree on the catch. Laura, please continue.
Tommy said, what could I say? I finally saw the big picture. I was young, dumb, too much money, and hung around way too many people, the wrong people. I didn't like myself. But he said, I do now. But I work every day on being a good person, on being accountable as a person and as a player. Marvin Lewis named him special teams captain last week, as you said it meant the world to him.
Well, this is coming back. Does it look like Doug Free basically grabbed a hold of Carlos Dunlap, or it may have been Gathers, and just threw him to the ground, grabbing his jersey.
Holding. Offense number 68. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
And as we've said, he's been under siege the last month or so in terms of particularly these situations. Dallas looks like they're getting into a throw mode. Just threw him down to the ground there. And that's where this defensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals can become lethal. If they can kind of ignore the run, realizing that Dallas is getting into this throw game, we could see a lot more of that type of pressure.
Dallas averages 379 yards of offense per game. They're well under 200 short of that here in the fourth quarter. And across the middle, the reception by Ogletree, and that is a first down. Needed to get to the Bengal 45. He gets to the 43, and a big pickup for Dallas.
You're going to see him cross here, but this is classic Tony Romo. His ability to move suddenly in the pocket, get the ball out of his hands as quickly as he does, turning into what looked like a potential sack into a big play.
First down. Dallas picks up the blitz. Got to be an open man. And down the far side. Incomplete with an eye on Harris.
Well, they brought pressure from the corner. Nice job of the offensive line holding up. Romo had time to wait it out. Usually those late kind of throws, you're going to see this coming off this side late right there. And nice job with Murray picking it up, scanning, looking for the secondary blitz. You sprinkle those in just enough with this front four, can make life miserable for the quarterback. But when your line and backs pick it up that way, gives you a chance to make those down the field throws.
Atkins gets a hold of Romo, who just throws it into the air, and it could have been intercepted. Nate Clements about a step late.
Good coverage sack. You can see right here they're rolled up on Ogletree. They've shut off the left side. Romo having to get flushed to the right. Here comes Austin across underneath, nothing there. Now back on the right side. This is the second pass that should have been picked that we've seen today. Romo dodging a bullet earlier in the first half, and there, that one easily could have been picked off by Clemens.
3rd down and 10. And it's Austin on the crossing pattern and another big 3rd and long conversion to keep this drive and their hopes alive to the Cincinnati 27.
You're going to see it show up from the outside. These crossing routes have been killing the Bengals, giving them a chance to catch the ball on the run, running away from coverage over the top and turning it into bigger yardage.
Defender fell down. The crossing pattern, and Dez Bryant finds the end zone. And the Cowboys right back in it with 6:35 to go. Bryant, who did not catch a touchdown pass the first half of this season, now has 9 in the second half.
And when you see throws like this from Tony Romo, suddenly stepping into the pocket with good protection, firing it fearlessly down inside the 5-yard line. That's why you see the Cowboys having the faith they do in Tony Romo.
27-yard touchdown. They kick the point after to make it a 2-point game. So now the pressure swings to the Cowboy defense, needing a stop to try and get the football back. A look from the Commonwealth of Kentucky back into downtown Cincinnati and at Paul Brown Stadium. A Dez Bryant touchdown catch. Talked about in the first half of games this year. Not a single touchdown. All 9 have come in the second stanza. So now is 6:35 to play. Andy Dalton and the Bengals needing a lengthy drive. Two teams fighting for their very playoff lives here today. Not to say that if you lose, you're eliminated. But every win this time of the year, Brian, gives you a better chance to get there.
Yeah, and obviously in December they call it the dash for the cash. Both these on that precarious edge of no, they're not out of it, but a win would go a long way to put them in position to finish off and get into the playoffs.
A first down throw to Jermaine Gresham, cuts it back to the inside, and that's a gain of 5 on first down. And Ernie Sims, slow to get up, still hasn't gotten up. There have been so many injured and nicked up players in the game here today.
And between Ernie Sims and Spencer, who call the defenses, that green dot you see on the back of their helmet, they're having to pass that off between any number of players, because between the two of them, Spencer was out for a while due to dehydration. Sims then has to call it. Sims calls it. Now he's coming in, big hit, but now he has to call the defense. That adds to the confusion as well. We've seen Dallas caught with a couple penalties in terms of substitution, being a man short. A lot of moving parts when you have as many people missing as the Cowboys do, and you have to have your play caller on the field pass between a couple different players.
Well, they brought in Sims after they originally had the injury to the guy who was the very heart and soul of this defense, Sean Lee, when he went down early in the year. Then it was Bruce Carter who went down at linebacker after they had had injuries already early in the year to Barry Church. And then more recently, Kenyon Coleman, and of course Jay Ratliff not playing for a 3rd straight game. Josh Brent, after the automobile accident, no longer with a team back in Dallas. Claiborne has been injured today. And on second down, Green Ellis appears to be, well, it depends on where they spot it. It was right at the 30-yard line.
Tackled by DeMarcus Ware. Ball is spotted at the Bengal 30-yard line, where it's 1st and 10 Bengals.
We welcome many of you just joining us on Fox around the country. A 19-17 Cincinnati lead. Bengals at 8-5. trying to get to the postseason for the second straight year. Dallas, a game behind the Giants in the NFC East. A missed sack and a high throw. And it's second down and 10. That should have been a sack by Jason Hatcher.
Again, these are usually lethal for the defense. In the grabs, no, not quite, gets outside. This is typically when you see a guy wide open. Dallas able to stop the completion.
Clock at 5:24. Many of you just joining us watching the Rams go on the road and beat Buffalo 15-12. With Brian Billick and Laura Oakland, Tom Brenneman from Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. 19-17 Bengals. Another short pass and a reception made by Jermaine Gresham. And this becomes a critical third down as the Bengals try and keep the ball with a 2-point lead.
And we've seen on the last couple of third downs, they've had people open. The problem being we've either had drops or a miscommunication between Andy Dalton and any one of a number of his receivers as to whether to keep running, sit down into these pockets or windows that the zone defense of the Dallas Cowboys has given them.
It's a big, big play. Four-man rush. And Dalton is sacked back at the 25-yard line by Spencer. What a time to get a sack. And now the Cowboys will get the football back, trailing by 2.
They've been moving Spencer around almost like a linebacker there. He's standing up in a 2-point, lines up over the guard, and just out-quicks him right down the heart of the protection.
Dwayne Harris waiting on the punt by Kevin Huber. So now Romo and the Cowboys are going to get the chance. Great punt by Huber. All the way back to the 22-yard line, Harris. And he's dropped to the 27. Tony Romo in the month of December in his career is 9-13. There are times he's as good as anybody in the league. There are other times, like Chicago earlier this year, the 5-interception game, 2 return for touchdown. The game against the Giants in Dallas, where he can be maddening. So far in his fourth quarter, he's been very, very good. 7 of 9, 98 yards and a touchdown. And now a chance with 3:44 to go to put his team in a position to take the lead. Cowboys have 2 timeouts remaining. First down handoff to Murray. Still on his feet, pushes forward to the 33. This game started quickly. Both teams scoring on their opening possession. Bengals went up 7-3. DeMarco Murray in from a yard out. And then with the Bengals missing big chances to keep drives alive, including a drop by A.J. Green for a touchdown. Nearly intercepted by Terrence Newman. Harris was looking for a flag. But after the Bengals had missed all these chances here in the second half of either scoring touchdowns or extending drives, the touchdown pass to Bryant brought them within 2.
This is the third dropped potential interception we've seen. 2 in the second half, 1 in the first. Combined with the drops by the Bengals receivers on third down, I think the Bengals need to get on the ball machine in the week ahead here, because we've had a lot of drop passes, whether they be passes or interceptions.
Third down and 5. Romo gets it away, and who else? It's Witten. A penalty flag is on the far side of the field.
There's a penalty flag on the field.
Illegal hands in the face. Defense number 29. Penalty declined. Result of the play. First down.
So the play stands up to the 42.
Up here's where the penalty comes. Witten comes in here. The hands to the face on Miles Austin. And they get the completion to Witten either way.
So the clock
Monday.
at 3:06. It's Bryant. And he crosses midfield to the Cincinnati 49-yard line. A gain of 9. We're under 3 to go.
Des Bryant, except for that big in route that scored on the touchdown, everything has been underneath with shallow drags or hitch routes, trying to give him the ball early and let him do something with it after the catch.
Murray found some daylight and able to pick up a first down to the Bengal 47. The season long for Dan Bailey is 54 yards. So they would roughly need to pick up another 11 or 12 yards to give him a chance from that distance. They'll get a chunk of that right here to Murray. Run out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Clock stops, 2:11 to go.
So those little drop-offs to the backs, couple to the fullbacks, couple to Murray there, that have been huge for them.
Now the red line you see on the field is where the Cowboys would have to make the line of scrimmage to give Bailey a chance to match his career high. The give is to Murray. And very close to a first down. And that will take us to the 2-minute warning. Will Dan Bailey have a chance to win it for the Cowboys? 1:59 left to go. On the AFC side of things, Brian, this would be a huge loss for Cincinnati. Baltimore going to overtime in Washington, D.C. The Steelers are getting hammered at home by San Diego. The Steelers are going to lose that game. Indianapolis has already won. Third down and a yard for Dallas. Told you the career-long field goal for Dan Bailey is 51 yards. To give him a 51-yard attempt, they would still need about another 7 yards. But all they're thinking about right now is picking up this third down and keeping this drive alive.
Nate Livings, the left guard for the Cowboys, came off the field, had a little difficulty after that last play. Derek Dockery's in at the left guard position.
Yep. And they have Jeremy Farnell in there as well right now on his third down and a yard.
No, I ain't. As soon as you told me, I let him go.
And it's a first down run from Murray to the 35-yard line, and the clock continues to run down to 1:50.
Just got big personnel on this left side, working their way up to that second level. Nice kick-out block on the by the fullback by Lawrence Vickers, doing a nice job opening the hole for Murray. Now it's a matter of the function of the clock and how much yardage do we need to get Bailey in field goal position.
Well, going to throw it on first down and just throws it away under heavy pressure. And Murray well covered out of the backfield by Maualuga.
I think the Cowboys have to be very careful with straight drop back passes here. You can do a 3-step, you can do a quick 5-step. You got to stay away from the 7-step drop, holding on to the ball. The last thing you want to do is move yourself out of field goal position.
Right now would be about a 52, a 53-yard field goal try for Bailey.
Des Bryant on the underneath routes has been the big key for them.
Romo drifting and throws. Catch made by Murray out of the backfield. And that'll get him right at the 30-yard line.
Stopped on the play by Adam Jones.
A 3rd down and 5. All right, right now would be roughly about a 48-yard field goal for Dan Bailey.
Hey, we right here.
1:17 to go in Cincinnati. Bengals show blitz. They give it to Murray. Bounces it to the outside. And did that second effort get him a 1st down? It did. Boy, is that impressive running by an impressive runner in DeMarco Murray.
Great play call getting outside the pressure. We've got Burfict down. You're going to see all this on the inside. They run one of these speed sweeps to the outside. He's able to bounce outside Jason Witten's block just enough to get to the inside. Now this gives Dallas an opportunity now to bring this clock down. Cincinnati having used all its timeouts up due to not having the proper personnel on the field on its 2 last timeouts. So now clearly in favor of Dallas. They've got the field position and they've got the clock in their favor.
Well, we talked about the AF side. What about the NFC side? Chicago already lost today. Tell you, the Bears better get it together in a hurry if they want to get to the playoffs. We're going to talk more about this when we come back after the injured Bengal. Oh, DeMarco Murray putting that left hand in the ground before his knee hit and extending the ball out to try and get a 1st down. Looked like he got there.
Yeah, this review from above, this is not the official down marker. That's on the other side of the field. So between the yellow line and that down marker, we're not absolutely certain where that first down marker is, or the 1st down yardage is. Sure looked like he had it based on where we see it here. Nice job stretching it out. He knows the importance of this being a 1st down.
It's under a booth review just to make sure. And Marvin Lewis wants his defense to come to the sideline. And I'm sure that Marvin Lewis, he may end up looking back, and we don't know how the rest of this one's going to transpire, but the Bengals had chance after chance after chance to either score touchdowns or to keep drives alive, keeping the football away from the Cowboys. Multiple drops by their receivers, including a couple of big ones on a would-be touchdown for A.J. Green.
And 3 dropped interceptions. It's those drops that I kind of made light of it a minute ago, but clearly it's those drops on both sides of the ball that could have changed the dynamic of this game dramatically.
Play. The ruling on the field stands. 1st down.
All right, Brian, how long do you go now? You have a minute. You have all the time in the world with the 2 timeouts in your hip pocket, so to speak, you can do what you want to do. You brought up earlier about watching the 5-step drop, the 7-step drop. Now are you just going to try to get a little closer on the ground, or very short passes to get a little closer for Dan Bailey?
Absolutely. I'm going to bring as much clock down as I can. I've got timeouts on Dallas's part. I may even try the field goal on 3rd down to give myself the option that if it's a bad snap or something bad happens, I can fall on it, call timeout. Very conservative, but you want to make sure you give yourself every opportunity now to make this field goal.
Very impressive drive it has been for Tony Romo and the Cowboys. Clock running. And plenty of time on that play clock. Well, you're still asking your kicker for a pretty lengthy try here without any additional yardage. Looking about a 43, 44-yard attempt. They hand it off to Murray, and he picks up a yard. So this is going to do it. Here we go. Cowboys are just going to bring out Dan Bailey and try and win this thing on the road. And what an emotional 24 hours it's been for this Cowboys franchise. When the Bengals went up 19-10, you thought starting to get away from it. The tragedy that occurred early Saturday morning, the loss of Jerry Brown Jr., a practice squad linebacker, in a car with his teammate, college teammate, and now teammate with the Cowboys, Josh Brent. Brown losing his life at 25 years young. He had fought to keep his NFL dream alive. Played in a CFL with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, 2 different teams in the Arena League. We heard from Jerry Jones. We heard from Jason Garrett. You talked about it, Brian Billick, for 3 hours to focus on what is normal in your life amid all this sadness and chaos. And now a chance to celebrate a win.
Real simple. Snap, hold, and kick. Simple, but not easy.
Trying to win it is Bailey. And it is right down the middle, and the Cowboys have come to Cincinnati. And on a game-winning fourth-quarter drive by Tony Romo, they're able to smile and I'm sure let a lot of emotions go after all they have been through in the last 24 hours together. Playoff hope still alive for the Cowboys. They go to 7-6. Bengals hope still alive, but this is a big hit. And the jersey of Jerry Brown Jr. And our thoughts and prayers with his family. Let's go to Kurt Mendenhall.